Welcome to Module 2 of the Pre-Calculus Mastery Program. In Module 1, we built strong algebra foundations. We explored numbers, exponents, polynomials, inequalities, and algebraic expressions. But now we move to something even more powerful: functions. Functions are one of the most important ideas in mathematics. In fact, calculus is really the study of how functions behave and change. So, before we study calculus, we must first understand what a function is. The basic idea is that a function is a rule that connects an input to exactly one output. Think of it like a machine. You give the machine a value, the machine processes it, and it produces a result. So, we can think of a function like this: input we given to the function, and the function processes it, and we get an output from the function. In mathematics, we usually write function using a notation. This notation means f of x. Here, x is the input, f of x is the output. See the example here: f of x is equal to x square. This means the function takes a number as input and square it and given us the output. Let's try an example. Suppose f of x is equal to x square. What is f of 3? So step 1 we do replace x with 3. So f of 3 is equal to 3 square. Then we calculate f of 3, that is 3 square is equal to 9. So the input 3 produces the output 9. Now we must understand an important rule. For something to be a function, each input must produce only one output. For example, when we input 2, we get 4 as output. When we input 3, we get 9 as output. When we input 4, we get 16 as output. So each input there is a corresponding output. So this is a function. But look at this situation. When we input 2, we got 5 as an output. Then again we input 2, we got another value 7 as output. So the same input gives two different output. So this is not a function. The function is only having one output corresponding to one input. Functions appears everywhere in the world. See some examples. Temperature changing over time. So time is the input and temperature will be the output of the function. The another one, distance traveled by a car. So time is the input and distance traveled by a car will be the output. Another one, salary depending on hours worked. So hours work will be the input and the income, the wages will be the output. Each input gives only one output. That makes them functions. Functions can be also represented using graphs. See one example. F of x is equal to x square. The graph look like a curve, that is called a parabola. Each x value corresponding to exactly one y value. This is another way to see that it is a function. Today we have learned the basic idea of functions. A function is a rule connecting inputs to output. We can write function notation as f of x. Each input produces exactly one output. Functions can be shown using tables, diagrams, or graphs. These ideas will help us understand how mathematical relationships work. Please solve this by yourself. When you understand functions, you begin to understand how mathematics describes relationships. And understanding relationship is the first step towards learning calculus. Thank you for learning with me today, and I will see you in the next lesson.